I thought it might be worth taking a second to delve into the unbelievably brainless defenses of Israel spewed by those who somehow still support Israel. And who better than charlatan professor in a $5,000 wardrobe, Jordan Peterson, and a man without hair, a neck, a soul, balls, or a conscience, former Israeli Prime Minister Naftali Bennett. Put on your tall rain boots, kids, because we're going in.
In the U.S., there's been widespread protests, especially on university campuses, but also spilling through the cities. It's a worldwide campaign. First of all, what's your sense of how those campaigns were organized and who's lurking behind the scenes there?
Yes, why would there be a worldwide campaign to stop genocide? It must be a coordinated conspiracy of neo-Marxist and trans people. It couldn't possibly be that non-sociopathic humans don't want genocide. It couldn't be that people naturally don't want to see children bombed. No, it's got to be a conspiracy involving Lenin and Che Guevara and maybe lizards.
You have an opportunity, many opportunities, but this is one of them at least, to say something to people who believe that they're on the side of the good when they're protesting Israel's actions in the Middle East after October 7th.
Wow, that was a lot of words to try and avoid saying the word genocide. Israel's actions in the Middle East after October 7th. Man, trying to avoid saying genocide takes a lot of energy. Does anyone have some Adderall I can snort? I know I'm dressed like a snake oil salesman, but I ran out of all my pills and elixirs yesterday.
The first one is radical Islam. The other strand is radical progressive woke idiots, for the lack of a better term.
Yes, radical progressive woke idiots. Is protesting against genocide the radical belief system, or is it committing the genocide, you sick? You are both psychopaths, and in order to defend your psychopathic behavior, you have to define college students who don't think the mass murder of children should continue as radicals. It's not radical for Israel to murder 300,000 people in 18 months when accounting for disease and famine, but it's so radical for that kid to hold up a sign saying no more U.S. money for genocide. Wow. I wonder how they got radicalized. Where did they get their militarized Sharpie pens to make their weapons of mass construction paper? Probably from China.
Naive people who view the world in a neo-Marxist frame where there's always a victim and a victimizer. And Israel, look, I've got white skin here, so I'm the bad guy by definition.
No, not by definition, by action, by the things that you do. I've got white skin too, and I'm Jewish, and for some odd reason, no one is accusing me of war crimes and ethnic cleansing. Why is that? Oh, I've got an idea. Maybe it's because I haven't done those things, and you, being a soulless waste of flesh, have done those things. Maybe it has nothing to do with your skin color and everything to do with the fact that you're a pathetic, sick, clown-faced who starves children as a hobby. Just spitballing here.
I've got white skin here, so I'm the bad guy by definition. Forget the fact that the land of Israel has been my homeland for 3,800 years.
Really? It's been your homeland for 3,800 years? Wow. I assume you mean your family's homeland for 3,800 years, but is that true?
My dad, may rest in peace, Jim Bennett, he was raised not far from here in San Francisco.
But I thought Israel has been your family's homeland for 3,800 years. But your father is from San Francisco. Is there a San Francisco, Israel I don't know about? In fact, a Google search shows your family on your father's side lived in the U.S. since 1851, and your mother's parents moved to the U.S. during World War II, originally coming from Poland and Russia. So not Israel. On your mother's side, not Israel. And on your father's side, not Israel. And even Israel was not Israel a few decades ago. It was called Mandatory Palestine. Got it. Man, it's really tough to poke holes in the lies of Zionists. I'm exhausted from all this deep research I had to do.
It's incredibly difficult to pull someone out of that frame, because basically if you're the aggressor and he's the victim, he's allowed to do anything. He's allowed to murder people, torture people, because he's the victim.
Oh, God, where to begin with this garbage? Every accusation from an Israeli is an admission. Murder, torture, these are all things regularly done by the IDF to Palestinians. In fact, they've even tortured UN staff. And last year, 9 IDF soldiers were arrested in July for allegedly physically and sexually torturing Palestinian men. The soldiers were ultimately released because Israel remembered that they support sexual violence against Palestinians. So those soldiers aren't criminals, they're national heroes. On Israeli morning TV, presenters and analysts discussed how to best arrange the of Palestinian prisoners, criticizing only the disorganized manner in which it was conducted. Come on, guys, get your torture more organized. It's not called disorganized crime, now is it? But Naftali Bennett and his ballsack polisher, Jordan Peterson, want you to believe it's the Palestinians who are doing these heinous things. Also, should we take a moment to discuss why Bennett thinks the proper hand motion to make when talking about pulling someone out of a mindset is grabbing them by the hair like he's waterboarding them? Is this because waterboarding is close to his heart? Naftali Bennett would make the most horrifying mime to ever live. And lastly, did he actually admit Israel is the aggressor?
If you're the aggressor, and he's the victim, he's allowed to do anything.
But I thought Israel was the poor victim in all of this. I thought Israel was defending itself against the terrorist 3-year-olds in Gaza. Well, it's good to see this heartless lunatic admit Israel is the aggressor. Here's to small victories. Now let's get another schizophrenic history lesson from the former prime minister.
Before the Jews came back home, beginning in the late 1800s, it was a desolate, barren, miserable land infested with mosquitoes and malaria. And as there was always Jewish presence, but it wasn't under Jewish governance.
Hold on a second there, Skip. It was desolate and barren, which literally means no people there, which is kind of one of your main arguments for why the land could be stolen in 1948, because no one was there anyway. But then you say there were always Jews living there, but they were not the ones governing it. So if there's no one there, who exactly was governing it? Oh, perhaps all the people there. In fact, before mandatory Palestine became Israel, because 33 nations at the UN said so on a drunken bender, it had about 1.2 million Arabs living there. They don't count? They don't matter? Montana has a similar population right now. Does that mean we can go there and steal Montana because it's desolate and barren? I mean, we did steal Montana from the Native Americans, but that was a while ago. Let's focus on your thing.
Yeah, well, the victim-victimizer narrative is a very
You tell me
pervasive.
though. Because tell me, why are so many people against Israel, and what can we do about it? You're the psychiatrist here.
What can you do about it? Oh, I don't know. Stop genociding? That might be a good start. In fact, I'll make a list of 10 things you can do to help get the world to support Israel. Well, actually, it's just the word stop genociding written 10 times in a row. That would actually help a lot. Stop bombing hospitals and children and murdering journalists and aid workers and poets and academics and starving everyone and being all around sick. Maybe try that for a bit. See how it goes. See how it fits. This is like Jeffrey Dahmer mid-murder spree with blood dripping down his chin, going on TV and saying, what can I do to make you guys like me a little more? Why is everyone against poor Jeffy? It's not really fair. Let's see what genocide apologist and all-around fraudster Jordan Peterson has to add.
I think part of it is the politics of envy. Jews are the perennially successful minority. The Jews became disproportionately successful, and that always happens. It always happens. And so then the issue is, well, what do you do with the disproportionately successful? And the response to that is twofold. You can be happy for the fact of their productivity and their success because they share their knowledge and their abilities with everyone around them, and the rising tide lifts all boats. Or you can decide that anybody who has more took it and is a thief and a crook.
Yes, totally. It could be that, or it could be that Israel's committing a genocide that's been live streamed around the world. You clowns. Envy of these genocidal monsters. This is like asking why some slaves rebelled and killed their captors. It must be that they were envious. Not that they wanted their freedom at all. Not that they felt that they weren't someone's property. No, they just saw some baubles in the plantation house that they wanted. But I do love the budding bromance between these two. When one sociopath meets another and you can tell they just become fast friends. So cute. In this next moment, I want to show you Peterson accidentally admits that he finds it hard to have empathy for people who aren't him and his direct family, which kind of sums up his entire worldview.
We're relatively insular by our psychology. You know, it's me, and then it's me and my family, and then it's me and my family and my community.
That's right.
Right. It's harder for us to extend that ethos of concern as people get more distal.
Thanks for explaining your psychosis to us, Jordy. Most people may care more about their own family, but normal humans still have a deep empathy for innocent people being murdered and maimed, no matter how distant they are from us. Most people can't see a video of children killed by Israel and go, you know, I'll invite the former prime minister of Israel on my show to explain how tough it is to be a poor, brutal, apartheid state ethnic cleanser. I'll try to launder Israel's image a little to help them keep their mass slaughter going. But my hat is off to you, Jordy, for admitting you have one of the telltale signs of sociopathy, lack of empathy for other humans. Bennett seemed to realize that they were going down a bad path there, so he shifted back to how tough it is for poor Israel, which is the true victim.
What do you think we can do? Because, you know, sometimes I'm flabbergasted. I'm always interviewing at CNN, BBC, and all that, and I feel sometimes I'm barely moving the needle. And you know, the reality is so different than what we're portrayed. And what do you think we can do about it?
Well, I think going after the victim-victimizer narrative is a good long-term strategy. But it's also very bad for you to regard yourself as a victim.
Horrible.
Because you lose agency and you lose hope.
Yes, don't be the victim. Oh, wait. Naftali Bennett has spent this entire interview trying to paint Israel as a victim and saying, what do we do about it? And Jordan Peterson, in other interviews, is constantly complaining about being attacked, censored, insulted. So his grift is kind of built on being a victim who says, don't be a victim. Interesting, but not unprecedented. Many grifters spend their time lying and then saying, don't trust the liars, or moralizing while they themselves are gut-wrenchingly immoral. You're part of a storied and proud tradition, Jordy. But the other reason this is so important to Peterson's grift is because he's constantly defending the oppressors, defending those with power, defending those who assault, abuse, extract, and exploit others. He's on the side of the empire, the side of fascist forces, the side of Israel, the side of white men who dominate our society's positions of power still today. If Darth Vader were real, Jordy Peterson would be on his side too. Well, thank you both for this fun conversation where you demonstrated your sociopathy to the world. Next time, maybe do it on a psychiatrist's couch so we don't have to see it.